I love coffee so much. Hey everyone, so it's been a couple months since I last filmed my coffee chat, and so I thought I should kind of update and do another one. And so today I'll be talking about being in your 20s, and especially the time right after you graduate. And so here I am with my coffee, of course, and today is actually pretty gloomy. It's been raining the whole day. So right now I'm using this ring light that I got for Christmas. Thanks, Earl. And yeah, it's just perfect when it's kind of dark. So hopefully it doesn't look too weird, me using this, but yeah, let's get started. It's been a little over a year and 1 month after I have graduated from college, and this year I am turning 24, which is really weird for me to say and acknowledge. It really doesn't make sense to me still. I feel that I am still kind of getting my life together, which I am, and it's not a bad thing, but I'll get into that a little later. But that's kind of just the situation I'm at right now, and I moved back to Guam in April, and so it's almost nearing a year since moving back with parents. And so this video, I just kind of want to talk about what it's like to be at home with parents, and also just what it's like what life is like after you graduate from college. And so hopefully this video is helpful for everyone who just graduated or is going to graduate soon. So now that it's been several months since I moved back in with parents, I can kind of look back on the months and kind of reflect on it. And I can just say for me personally that it hasn't been the easiest. There have definitely been a lot of adjustments that I needed to make, just because I had a lot of freedom and I was just surrounded by peers in Waco. And so moving back here and being with parents and not being able to go wherever I wanted to, and etc. Just because like I have to share like my mom's car, and then also we live pretty far from a lot of things, and so, and just the friends, I only had like a couple of friends on island, so it was just a shock, a culture shock again, being back. In the first few months, I struggled a lot with loneliness and how to deal with that, and I can say now that my situation hasn't changed too much, but just getting plugged into my church here on Guam and finding a Bible study group that I can regularly attend, it has been really encouraging to just find brothers and sisters that can relate to me, like even if they're not, in the same place that I'm at. And so I talked about that in my church video. And just, I think just time helped, that I don't always have to be around people around my age, but that I can find friendships in people older or younger. So it has been an adjustment, and me loving being independent and doing whatever I wanted to do, coming back to my parents and kind of letting them know, hey, I'm gonna go out to hang out with my friends, or even just little things like that, or like what I eat for dinner, breakfast, lunch, etc. It always involves my parents, and so that had to be something I was humbled with and had to have patience. It's been better. Yeah, but my focus of this video though is that I would just say, now that I'm kind of just turning 24 or going to turn 24, and I've graduated from college, I just want to say that your 20s is a time of just learning and growing still, and you won't have everything together, and that is completely fine. For me, I was the type of person that was thinking that, oh, like once I graduate college, I'll have a job and I'll know what to do with my life, with my time. But that was not the case coming back to Guam. First, it was really hard to find a job, especially as a biology major. There's really nothing on Guam. And except for like being a teacher, and being a teacher is not really what I wanted to do. But funny enough is that there is a great need of teachers, and so I fill in for, like, I sub at my school, and I also filled in like a teacher position like recently. And it's funny that I don't want to teach, but I end up teaching a lot, or I have been since coming back, and it hasn't been as horrible as I thought. It has been okay, and I'm just grateful to help someone, to help a need of a spot that needs to be filled. And with that came a lot of questions of like, what should I be doing in life? Like, there is a passion that I do have, but to get to that point, I was really discouraged for a long time of how do I get to that point? Like right now I feel super stuck, and I don't even know like the next step that I should take. I don't know what will happen next month, and I was in a lot of turmoil last year, towards the end of the year, and with a lot of anxiety with the future. I was also going through a lot of emotional and mental things, just like a lot of my past coming up and being exposed in me that I had to address to grow and heal. In a nutshell, what I've been gone through the past year has definitely not been what I planned and hoped for, but in the end, it was the best thing for me. I've come to terms with the fact that, yeah, you're not supposed to know everything and have everything together in your 20s. Like, sure, of course, some people do. Some people are already married at my age. Some people have great jobs and they're doing well for themselves. But I'm just telling you that it's not the story of every person. It's not the plan for every person. And so you don't have to worry about not being like everyone else. Each person has a different journey, and so just worry about your journey. It was something that I brought to God so many times, like, God, why does it feel like I'm like 50 steps back from everyone? But through every day, every month, God was constantly saying, hey, Jane, do you trust me? Do you trust that I have a plan for you, that I'm not leaving you to hang and dry, but that there is a purpose for every day, for every moment that I'm here on Guam? And so this is where I found comfort in. It has not been easy, let me just say. I've gone through one of like some of the worst months of my life, and if you follow me on Instagram, then you know I'm very vulnerable on Instagram. All just to encourage people. Like, every trial that I go through, I like to share, because I hope that it encourages someone. First, that you're not alone in whatever you're going through, that someone else most likely is going through the same thing or something similar. And second, that you can make it out of it on the other side. And for me, it was definitely not by my own strength, but by the reliance on God that truly, he really just pulled me through. That without him, I probably wouldn't be here. So that's kind of what I wanted to share. So in the end, if you don't have a job right after graduating from college, don't stress about it. And it's fine. Like, sometimes breaks are needed, like just spending time with your family. If you move back with your parents, spending time with them, or just having rest for your body, because, you know, in college you're always grinding, right? So having rest physically or emotionally or mentally, and just finding that rest and peace that is needed, you know? We can't always be running all the time in life. The rest that you find, I hope it's not just letting yourself do whatever you want and trying to find satisfaction in that, because in the end you quickly realize that no matter how many hours you sleep, how many movies you watch, shows you watch, that your soul can still feel restless if you're not finding that rest in God. So I hope that you are finding rest in the correct source. Now I know my next step in life, and still, even that is unsure. But I've come to realize at the end that God, when he says he's got you, he's got you. Like, so trust in him. And so many times I've just had to constantly remind myself of who God is and who I am in him. And that is what got me through my darkest days, and my greatest days too. Constantly filling your mind with the characteristics of God and who he says in the Bible is the only thing that can bring you peace for life's circumstances. And a specific passage that kept coming up during my really hard moments was Matthew 11:28-30. It says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And so this passage came up in many different ways, like whether it was a sermon on Sunday or through a post on social media, or even like a recommendation by a friend, like Gentle and Lowly, the book. I heard so many great things about it, and I finally received it in August, but I didn't touch it until like November. I still haven't finished it, but that's on me. But it's a really good book, and it has encouraged me in so many ways that through all my tears, through my greatest hardships, that not for a second Jesus was absent. You know, he was with me in every step, in every burden. And so I also recommend Gentle and Lowly for anyone who's going through a hard time. You just really see Jesus' heart in it. As he says, I am gentle and lowly in heart. And so the book kind of expands on what that really means. That's just kind of the message that I wanted to give you guys. Just the message of hope and encouragement that you are not alone. There are a lot of people who struggle with this weird limbo time, finding your purpose or your calling or the direction that you should go into. But if you trust in God, if you rely on God, God will lead you through every step of the way, even if it doesn't seem like it. One imagery that came into mind last year was that I was pleading with God, I do not see the light at the end of the tunnel. But God reminded me that you don't need to see the light at the end of the tunnel as long as I'm with you. So do you trust that I am leading you even in the darkness and you don't see the light? Do you trust that I am with you in the darkness? And so that was really encouraging to me. And that's just something that I've held on to every time that I've gone through a dark time. That it's not about even looking at the distance and seeing the end, but it's at this moment now, like, do you understand that God is with you? So I hope this has helped you. It's kind of a heavier topic. It was like a really important part of my journey, my life, I guess. And so this is kind of like a life update, but also my encouragement to all of you guys in your 20s, and obviously maybe later in the 20s is different than your earlier 20s and etc. And maybe I'll make a video several years later about my late 20s. I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you guys next time. Also, I forgot to mention, but my friend Emily Moon, she started her YouTube channel recently. It's called Lil Eggy, I think is how you pronounce it. But yes, I will link her channel in my description box. the description. Okay, so check out her YouTube channel. Testing.